Before we get into it, if you enjoyed these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button, and keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as, investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. All right, folks, here we are on Monday, February 10th. We're going to take a look at Blue Hat today. So Blue Hat had a big day. It's actually had some decent days recently, up over 18% on the 5th, and then down 10% the following day, and then followed that up with a plus 15% day. And now today, even with a pretty solid wick down, it ended plus 27%. Now, it did go ahead and fill this gap here, and it came in within a fraction of a penny of filling this gap here. I know it looks like it, but at least what I can see, this gap fill would be completed at 8.35 cents, and today's high was 8.25 cents, so a fraction of a penny off. Don't know if that'll matter, but I just wanted to mention it for all of you gap hounds out there. Now, shorts are picking up their interest as of the last couple of reporting periods, and I wanted to see how this might be working against them. I know there was a period of time, maybe in the late 20-teens, early 2020s, where it was like short squeeze was the talk of the town always. Right? But to me, there's three things that I look for to see if a short squeeze can actually likely happen, and keeping in mind it's very hard to do. But one of those things is the price action moving against the short sellers, right? In other words, the price action rising continuously. We'll take a look at that more in a moment. And then the other things are borne out here. This is the data from today from iBorrowDesk. And per their data, there's currently a fee of 20.7% to borrow and 4.5 million shares available. Now, I flipped back through like much of February and the data that they had. The fee has pretty consistently been in the 20s. The availability has varied some, but it's, as far as I could tell, basically always stayed at or above a million. And so in the millions for the data that I saw. And so the three components that I look for, like I said, price rising going against the shorts, the fee to climb ideally into the triple digits. That would be my druthers. And then the available shares, ideally being zero, but being more minimal than 4.5 million anyway. So if we see this fee continue to climb into the high double digits, more ideally the triples, and then see this available shares get down into the tens of thousands ideally, maybe 100,000 or so would help do the trick. It would depend on the other factors, of course, but it has the inklings, right? There's like the whisper in the air. It's there. It has a ways to go, but could it happen? It certainly could. The components are there. If I was looking at this and it was like the fee was at 1.2% or 3% or something, it probably wouldn't be that interesting to me. And the recent jump in price, we're already in the double digits, so there's some sort of comfortability there. Shorts seem to be happy to come in additionally during this increased fee period. And so, are they getting too comfortable in a situation that could kind of backfire on them? Maybe. So we'll see if anything like that could be set off. But that's why I'm interested in sort of BHAT, Blue Hat, and their sort of potential gearing up for a fight against short sellers. Now, it'll require the interest to be there, right? We see a volume today nearly 300 million, volume last trading day over 200 million, and then prior to that 49 million, 143 million. But if we go back here, right, you see this big bump in volume here, but if we go back here, this volume is like 3 million, less than a million, less than a million. There's a lot of days of less than a million. So can it stay in the like solid double digits, like 30 million plus 30 million, and then have several days in the hundreds of millions in volume? That could put additional pressure from the standpoint of just wild variance in
the stock price, because the volatility in the action is so feverish. And for a stock that's been under such long-term duress, like Blue Hat, this is the chart. It's to my mind, it's going to take a ton of interest and volume to sustain something long enough, right? Where people don't just kind of pop in, pop out. They make their 20%, they make their 30%, whatever, pop in, pop out, and then they're like, all right, on to the next one. There's going to require, I think, some longer term volume explosion and stickiness, so that it gives time for these numbers for this number to increase and for this number to decrease. It essentially has to buy time, but it has to buy that time by, generally speaking, not every single day, not every moment of every day, but generally speaking, having the price of the stock lifting. And so that's where we are. Now, I put in what I felt were the strongest near-term levels without getting crazy, right? I could have put a level in here at like 6.25 or something, probably like 6.4. I could have put one in here at like 855. Yeah, so without like super cluttering the chart, I tried to put in some near-term levels and then some sort of stretch levels if it does get leggy. But just know, this has already climbed a lot, right? Just a few days ago, at the very end of January, this puppy was less than 3.5 cents. Okay, so now it is double that, I guess, right? 3.45 up to 6.9. And so it's already done a lot. So just keep that in mind, that has already taken place. And so how much more does it have left in the tank? I don't know. But again, if there's something like a short squeeze that takes place, or even like starts to kick off, or gets semi underway, things could get spicy. So support wise, if it does get dippy, 552, and I'm just going to say it like that, and just know, because it's fractions of pennies, it's really obnoxious to constantly try to place the decimal point while I'm just trying to speak. So 552 is the nearest in support level, strong support level that I see. Again, there's probably a level here about like 6.2 up to 6.4, somewhere around there. So something to keep in mind. If it loses that, then yeah, you're obviously going to have a tough time having your way with the shorts, but probably there's not a level till down here around 4.5 cents or so, at least as the chart currently stands. If things do get boomy, 10.30 looks like a resistance level to me, 13.49, 15.90, and then stretch 24.60, and this is as far as I went right now, 36, but this is a really good level because this puppy goes all the way back to here. Not to make you nauseous, but I mean, this is when it had this reverse split way back in 2022, and it had, hopped up here to, calculate for the share price shift, and then just plummeted. It came right back down to basically where it was, just after the split. And so, we see sometimes these rushes, right? Plus 263%. There was a period of time where there was like all this rush to like pump and dump, not only stocks that were going to be delisted, but stocks that were reverse splitting, right? Things that previously would have been like, okay, everyone's running for the exits, right? But in the era of like Atlas and, just all of the various pump and dump people that are out there, having influence and having social media followings, I don't know that that's what happened there, but it's ringing that bell to me. But in any case, when it just absolutely crumbled from 4.10 all the way down to 36 cents over the course of, it hit here at the very end of 2022, and it hit here, so it's like, over the course of 5.5 months, somebody could have been buying at like $4, and if they hodled, they would have turned that $4 into 36 cents in like 5.5 months. So that's what happens. But this is a really good level because this is where it found its grounding at 36 and it built off of that. And again, had another several rushes, really, right? Several rushes through here. I don't know why my computer is going buck wild right now, but it is fan to the extreme at the moment. So that's why I say that 36 really, really strong. It tried to hold that level here, right? It wrestled with it for a pretty decent period of time before the most recent just, complete breakdown. But, that's how you end up with a stock down here at 3.5 cents. It's a complete breakdown. But yeah, so that's why I have that 36 cents there. Again, like huge gains away. But if it were to occur, to me, that would be a really interesting thing to see how the action would occur, right? What that interfacing with 36 cents would look like because of that previous price action. So we'll see. Now, EMAs wise, let me hide these guys just so we can see some of what we're looking at. 183 way up here in the 40s at the moment. Again, by the time if it were to make a motion toward that, that could easily be into the 30s by the time it's there. Who knows? But we are seeing, some nice curling of the 8 toward the 21, toward the 34. It brushing off yesterday, brushing off the 21, today brushing off the 34. So again, it's rejecting off of those levels, but it's rejecting off of progressively better levels for reversal potential. Could we end up seeing something like this that looks promising and then just absolutely falls apart and fails? Yes. Again, that's why I zoomed out and I said, here's the long-term view of Blue Hat. It is a story of zooming and then breaking down, right? So just to say, like, don't get too far ahead of yourselves here and be too crazy with it. But, I'm also trying to not just parent you. If we start to get some of these bullish crossovers, that would be super interesting. You see, even with these pushes, like you didn't get that 8 crossing over the 21. That hasn't happened in a very long time, way back here. And even then, that was super short-lived. But you see this huge bump in volume, right? And here, this was a huge bump in volume, and this was getting 1,181,600. So totally different story than what we're seeing today and in this recent boom. But I mean, that shows you again how poor the volume was leading into it, below 100,000, $25,000 volume day. So, and that wasn't that long ago, it was just last year. So so just keep that in mind, and when it falls apart, it really falls apart. But we'll see if we can get any crossovers happening here. But this is what it looked like last time that happened. Now, on the Thinkorswim side of things, so many triggers and fires. Trigger, fire, nothing happened. Re-trigger, refire, and that's where you get the action, right? So pretty good call out here by the TTM squeeze indicator. Took it from like $1.25 or so, and then just bled it down through, pick your spot. We could say here maybe. Took it down to 20 something cents. And then we get another trigger and fire and a trigger and fire where it's just kind of consistently dripping. Drip, 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 drip. And now today, getting another one, the first trigger candle as it's showing any motion in the other direction. So we'll see if this amounts to anything. There's potential for a lot of pent-up energy here. I don't know if it will be able to unleash it. I don't know if it'll occur. I don't know. I didn't check out the regulatory filings in the situation for Blue Hat. It may be staring down the barrel of, a delisting notification at some point. I didn't check, but you can look that up yourself. Just say delisting notice and then put in your ticker symbol and you'll land on the right site. So I don't know, but obviously it would need to do a ton to make it through there. Will they be able to reverse split their way out of it again? Maybe. But these are just things to sort of keep in mind when you're dabbling in stocks of this low price. Yeah, sometimes it can go your way, but there's a lot of people that get bagged a lot of times. So just keep that in mind. But in any case, it is interesting. And, the reason I led with the short selling stuff is that to me is, the best opportunity for it to have any significant motion. Will that be enough to do anything longer term? I don't know about that. I would tend to say it would need something more fundamentally sound in order to make that case, right? Really good earnings, really good partnerships, catalysts of other nature. But first thing is first, right? Let's see if it can even keep this motion going, then see if we can get that fee to climb. I'll pull these back up, get that fee to climb high double digits, maybe even in the triple digits, get those available shares down like under 100K, ideally down to like 10K or something. That could be pretty interesting at that point, but that's why it's hard. It's those three factors kind of coming together. All right, folks. So I hope that your trading week is off to a good start. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.